Do you love Chip and Company podcast? Be sure to head over to chipandco.com for even more Disney Parks news, entertainment, and review podcasts. Chip and Company has been delivering the best in Disney news, planning tips, and more since 2009. And now you can get that news in an audio-only format, now 5 days a week. Every Monday, join Marc and Greg for Diz Life Podcast and start your week off the right way by living your best Disney life. Tuesday is our news and review podcast discussing the latest breaking news from the Walt Disney Corporation. Every Wednesday, we're discussing the best of Disney parks with Chip and Greg. Thursdays have Marc and Greg breaking down the top headlines of the week in And Company, a weekly news roundup. And don't forget to tune into Extra every single weekend where we give you a deep dive on the biggest topic of the week. Get that extra dose of Disney in your weekly commute, your time on the treadmill, or even just relaxing around the house. So what are you waiting for? Head over to chipandco.com today and become part of the fastest growing podcast network in the Disney community. We hope that you enjoyed today's podcast, and thank you for being a part of our podcast family. And now, two guys who can handle their liquor when drinking around the World Showcase, Greg, the Disney fanatic, and Diz Life Marc.
Hoy hoy everyone, and welcome to And Company. Welcome to our weekly review of the top headlines from chipandcompany.com as we dive deeper into the topics that continue to garner your love and attention. Thank you for being part of our show here on the Chip and Company Podcast Network. Don't forget, hit subscribe and be part of the fastest growing podcast network in the Disney community, where now you can get a daily dose of Disney 5 days a week. On today's podcast, we are talking about Central Florida has bad weather? Really? Another drunk person ruining the magic. Disney 100 will start in my hometown of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Is Disney starting to ban live streamers? I will bring my Rushmore of the week, and Marc will deliver the spicy hot take of the week. And of course, as always, we will spend time trying to figure out why my washer is going off in the background of us trying to record. So you're just going to have to deal with it because we don't take out our mistakes here. We will find out where in the world is Mr. Chip Confer and where has he disappeared to this week. But before we get to the headlines, let me welcome once again the co-host of And Company and purveyor of Diz Life Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, my friend, Mr. Marc Valentine. Marc, how are you doing today?
Laundry's done, Greg. It's done.
Laundry is done.
Go change over the laundry. Don't be one of those people who lets it sit in the washer until it starts to get that funk smell, and then you got to start it over again because you didn't take it out on time. So go and do that before we get into the news headlines of the day. How are you? Are you healed?
I am still rather tired from D23, my friend. I don't know how you are doing, but my legs still hurt. Mentally, like I said, when I got back, mentally, I was like, man, I'm living on a high right now. That high has not come down. So I am still doing good. My body still hurts. How about you, my friend?
I'm wiped out. I think it's going to take me a week and a half to fully recover emotionally, spiritually, existentially, physically. Just check off every possible way that I could be completely drained and exhausted. And it is.
But what an amazing time we had out there. You, myself, Chip, we just had a great time at D23. So tiredness aside, my friend.
Yes.
Let's get into this week's top headlines. The headlines that you all out there in Chip and Company land clicked on the most, interacted with the most. Where are we starting this week, my friend?
It looks like while Josh D'Amaro promised blue sky projections, it was anything but blue skies over at Epcot just yesterday, because on September 15th, right around 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guests who were visiting Epcot were shocked to see a funnel cloud or a potential tornado forming near Spaceship Earth over at Walt Disney World. This weather event was spotted near Epcot at Walt Disney World a little less than an hour before that, and then the photo was captured by Andrew Klatt, who then shared that picture and that imagery over on their social media. Certainly a disturbing photo. No one was hurt. There was no damaged property that was reported, but it just caused a little bit of a stir, as would be expected over on social media, that, Florida is notorious for bad weather. However, something like that funnel cloud certainly does cause some alarm for guests.
What? It rained between 3 and 7 p.m. here in the Central Florida during August, September, and October? Oh, okay. Let's look at this picture real quick. And it does show that there could be a possible funnel cloud coming down, obviously, out of the clouds. That funnel cloud was a good 10 to 15 miles away from Disney World.
Correct.
It was nowhere close by. No lives were in danger.
Would you say forced perspective was in effect, Greg?
Thank you, Mr. Disney, and all the Imagineers at Disney World for doing forced perspective. What a great way of putting that. I did not even think of that. You win the day, my friend.
Checkmate.
Look, I will say this, during 3 to 7 p.m. here in Central Florida, between the months of August and October, it is hurricane season, and that is when we get some of the most torrential downpours you can have. Please, if you are coming down here during that time, know that it's 4 p.m. right now. It is raining.
It's raining somewhere in Florida, yeah.
No, it is raining at my house. I am 6 miles from Disney. I do want to put this out there, Mark. What was crazy was nobody got tornado warnings here in Florida when that happened. And that was a bit upsetting because I understand the National Weather Service has certain priorities set for what is considered a tornado. But when you see a funnel cloud coming down out of the sky like that, you kind of go, that's a tornado. Let's give some people some warning.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, I think... Did Mickey send the tornado? What is he, like Fantasia Mickey all of a sudden?
Oh my God, it was Mickey's Philhar Magic. That's what it was.
That's what did this. I'm shocked. We solved the tornado.
Solved the mystery of the tornado. Oh boy. It was Mickey.
Thank you, Fantasia Mickey. Thank you, what is it? Yes, didn't he? What's the backwards way of saying that? Anyway, moving on, my friend.
This next one's got to excite you, man, because it's this is something that's starting in your old stomping grounds.
And I've been told that when the possibility comes around of us doing this, I will be the one who goes to the media event and can go back to my old stomping grounds for this.
Bravo.
So I am really looking forward to this even more now. So listen, today at D23 Expo, the ultimate Disney fan event, obviously in Anaheim, California, exciting new details and stops were announced for the upcoming world premiere of Disney 100, the exhibition. It's created for the 100-year celebration of the Walt Disney Company. The exhibition will immerse guests in beloved stories that have been dazzling guests since 1923, when Walt Disney set his company on a path that would revolutionize the entertainment industry. So anyway, the world premiere of the exhibit will open on February 18th, 2023 at the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Following stops are going to be Chicago, Kansas City, and the next two stops, those are the next two stops in North America. Following, it'll go over to Munich, Germany for a few months. We got the official poster at D23, which was really cool. Just a few remarks here. As we prepare to kick off Disney 100 Years of Wonder, we are incredibly excited to bring this fantastic exhibition to life. Becky Klein, the director of Walt Disney Archives, said, "We can't wait for guests to experience their favorite Disney stories, characters, and attractions in new and immersive ways. It's going to be wonderful." The president and CEO of the Franklin Institute, Larry Dubunsky, said, the Franklin Institute is thrilled to host Disney 100, the exhibition. It's going to be the first major event to open at Franklin Institute in many years. Over the past 100 years, Disney obviously has brought in iconic stories and characters to life in new and innovative ways, becoming part of global culture and creating generations of memories for billions. I am really excited for this. We got to see some of the archives. We got to speak with Becky Klein a little bit at D23 and at Destination D23. What a fabulous, interesting lady. She really loves her job. She's the reason why the Walt's plane, Mouse One, is now sitting in Anaheim. She's the reason why Figment's, what was his name? Dreamfinder's vehicle is now sitting in archives also. So she really cares about the history of Disney. I can't wait to see what she puts together. Going home to Philadelphia, which, Mark, have you ever been to the Franklin Institute?
I have, and I just might meet you down there because it's only about a 2-hour drive for me. So let's get cold together in February and talk about Disney.
And we can walk through the giant heart.
Okay. Holding hands?
I don't think you can. So when I was a child, this giant heart was a giant heart, and it had you would go through the ventricles of the heart, and you discovered the inside of the heart. So you always knew how the heart worked. As an adult, I have a feeling it will not be as large or as glorious as I thought it was.
The heart wants what the heart wants, Craig. And you know what the heart wants? You and me to walk into one of the ventricles. So we should make that happen.
I'm holding you to that. Not only that, but maybe we can national treasure it. That would happen at the Franklin Institute.
Are we going to steal the Declaration of Independence?
We are, my friend, with a heart.
Well, before we do that, maybe we should have a few drinks and it'll be entertaining. I can tell you what, another woman had a lot of drinks over in Epcot.
Whoa, did she?
Yeah, moving on to the feel-good story of the week. And by feel-good, I mean, whatever this lady was drinking, she surely felt very good. But it was caught on video yesterday. A woman who had way too much to drink over at Epcot Food and Wine Festival was seen fighting with and eventually got escorted out of Epcot by Disney security and then Orange County Sheriff's Office. The videos were taken by Chorus Momster. I like that handle on TikTok as she followed the incident in Epcot. The first video takes place in the UK pavilion where you can see the woman fighting with Disney security and the Orange County Sheriff. The next video then sees the woman screaming as she's being wheeled to the exit by someone in her party. They put her in a wheelchair to get her out. She was so inebriated, she wasn't even walking out on her own 2 feet. Seems to be very unstable as she was being rolled out of Epcot. And then there was another video. There was a whole series of these. Finally, near the exit of the park, she comes out of the wheelchair to fight even more with the sheriffs. After all of that, it doesn't seem to appear the woman was ever arrested and or detained by the sheriff's deputies. There has been really no follow-up. Disney has not made a comment about this, but it is yet one more example, Greg, of guests behaving poorly. I love it when Disney, so before I get to you on this is just me. I have to go first.
Oh, you.
You don't get these, I think, anymore because when you stay at Disney and you complete one of your vacations, Disney does a really good job of the follow-up survey. Take a wild guess of one question that is almost always associated with the Epcot portion of the survey. Do you think that Epcot is a family-friendly environment anymore? And they usually ask you to sort of qualify whatever your answer is. Epcot is the Jekyll and Hyde of theme parks. During the day, wonderful and very family-friendly. Now, mind you, this was all happening in broad daylight. This woman drank way too much in the middle of the day. But I truly believe this, and I'm really sorry. This isn't the hot take yet, and I'm sorry it's going to be spicy. Disney's got to start to do something about serving people, that you have to look just like bartenders. Bartenders are charged with the responsibility to assess a guest's condition and whether or not they're cut off. And look, I get it. Disney doesn't want to have angry patrons and guests who are like, just give me the beer and shut up. I get that. It's easier to just give them the booze. But they are clearly overserving a lot of people. And I think that Disney has to start to weigh those kind of things. And yes, it is about guest satisfaction, but it's also about the overall guest experience. And when you have a woman who is completely smashed and totally inebriated, if that's the way that she's behaving to the authority figures, bet your bottom dollar that she's in the process of, as she's walking through the parks and probably yelling obscenities and being completely and totally drunk, she's ruining a lot of moments for families and for vacationers. So that's my hot take, dude. Disney really needs to just clamp down a little bit with how much they are serving people. And I get it. There's a culture of drinking around the world. But I think that if you're going around the world and you're showing signs of fatigue and being out of control, stop serving the person.
There's going around the world, and then there's turning around at the end and and going back around the world. Listen, yeah, Cora's Momster. What a great TikTok handle. I'm with her. Like, a lot of times I sit back and go, okay, I don't want to record what's going on here because I don't want to put it up and I think. But if you're going to act like this, you deserve to be embarrassed. If you're swinging on the sheriffs and treating the cast members like trash, yeah, you're going to get called out for it. This woman, man, I hope it wasn't her first day of vacation because she's not coming back ever again.
No, you think so? Because Disney is usually they're usually pretty.
No, once you get the swinging on the sheriffs and the cast members, you're done. There's no way I don't care if you can fall out, pass out drunk, and they'll be like, hey, kindly move along, and they won't ban you. But if you're swinging on the sheriffs, because there's going to be a whole lot of charges that come out of this yeah. But
seemingly
anyway,
none. Seemingly no charges were brought by the Orange County Sheriff's Office or Disney security.
So here it comes down to having a few drinks is okay, having a few too many. Obviously, some people can't control when that happens.
Yeah.
How do you enact action to fix this? Do you make sure that every guest has their card with them that they entered the park with, and then you track it that way and go, look, you've had 3. Disney only
you can't.
allots 3. Like, no, you can. And look, if they can track us around the park and know when we come in, go, and do all this other stuff, they absolutely can. It just takes the time and money. And Disney may or may not have that money to spend on it.
So what do you think? A drinks card that Disney says, if you want to drink around the world, you need a drinks card. So
yeah, you show your ID and you get a drinks card.
It's actually a pretty smart idea, man.
Simple as that. And you come in, look, how many times did you got to get a wristband for that special thing that we're doing tonight. You get, like, Mickey's Not So Scary. You want to drink them around the world? Yeah, do this. It's just safe. Look, it's supposed to be a family place, and families can have a drink, and grown adults can have a few drinks and drink around the world. College kids can go there, have a few drinks. Don't be belligerent and ruining other people's time. So yeah, unfortunately, in this day and age, just like the last story we're going to talk about, you have to modify and update to what's going on in the world right now. You don't want to police everybody. I'm not saying that because I don't believe in that. You don't want a police state. But you have to crack down because there are little kids and there are impressionable people around who will see those actions and go, I don't know, man, Disney's horrible. And everybody will blame Disney first.
Well, we try to stay out of the World Showcase at night. Try to. Because it's not enjoyable. I mean, you have people stumbling all over the place. I've seen people just like vomit all over plants, vomit all over. Like, true story. It's just... Disney, I think they have to enact some kind of controls being the operative word, on guest behavior when it is connected to drinking. You just don't want people walking around completely obliterated and inebriated. You don't. It's a theme park. You don't want that. It's a family-friendly theme park.
Yeah. Well,
moving on, my friend.
In further...
This one's really going to tick people off.
Angering news. And
yes.
We rushed through the first 3 to get to this one because you and I, over the past few weeks, have had very hot takes about our opinions on this.
Well, so apparently we're not the only ones, though, because Disney is paying attention, or at least the Tokyo Sea Company is paying attention to...
Right, so... The Tokyo Disney Resort has initiated a new policy that has some guests upset. This new policy basically bans vlogging and live streaming at Tokyo Disney theme parks. It specifically bans commercial filming, auxiliary equipment, and public transmission or recording of any kind that may, and here's the key word, inconvenience other guests. The resort also has one of the strictest Disney parks policies in the world. No filming on rides.
Bravo.
These policies mainly impact vloggers, social media influencers, and live streamers. Many Disney park fans are happy with the new policy. Some are even suggesting making this policy apply to all guests. There was a Redditor user,
Syllabubdo. That's nice.
I don't know why I can't read it.
In the words of Syllabubdo.
In the words of Syllabubdo. I wouldn't limit this to just vloggers. Nothing was more frustrating than to be on Frozen with a family who used their iPad to film the entire ride, ruined our experience, and having an iPad in our view of the ride.
Who does that with an iPad?
It does. It says ruined our experience. Having an iPad in our view of the ride. Similar experiences on Haunted Mansion as well, except it was a cell phone with their flashlight on.
Trigger.
And during this Festival of Fantasy Parade, we had a group of girls run up behind us and thrust their phones in front of our faces. Look, I'm not even going to continue this. This is going to the extremes. This doesn't happen everywhere. You and I have both been in front of Cinderella Castle watching the fireworks with our kids. Our kids are shorter. They can't always see. And then you have every single adult with their phone up. And then because the person in there has their phone up higher, they go higher. And then by the time you're in the back, you're like, people have tripods and selfie sticks, which aren't around. Okay, Mark, you and I have been through this a few times about the inconvenience brought on by certain, and I'm not throwing everybody under the bus, and I don't want to do that, but there are certain live streamers or vloggers or people who are on TikTok who will try and be the center of the room. They do take up all the space. They do suck all the air out of the room. They are very loud and obnoxious. When you get on a ride, they're describing to their audience everything about it and giving away secrets and hints, and it can be very disruptive to a family's day. We have both witnessed this in action. This is not, again, please, everybody, don't think I'm throwing every live streamer under the bus, because there are some very, they respect what Disney is doing, and they are trying to do their own thing in the Disney parks. But it's these disruptive ones that make it bad for everybody.
Well, that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. And it's like I said, I think the community has to police itself. I said this in reference to another thing a few weeks ago. What you're going to see happen is exactly what happened here, is that the bad behavior from a few will ruin it for the many. And if this community is not respectful of the overall guest experience, what you're going to eventually get is that Disney will allow a certain amount of groups to live stream in the park. And what they might go to, like you talked about the drinking card, what Disney might just wind up going to after a while is a select group of vloggers and live streamers who are pre-approved and scrutinized, and they're watched by Disney, and their behavior is kind of monitored in the park. Or what Disney might do is they might follow that Tokyo Sea route, and they might just have their own live stream, and they might have their own crew and their own staff that goes around. Because the flip side of this, and I understand this, so I hear and see the people that are in the Disney community that say, these live streams bring me so much joy when I can't be there. I love turning on the live streams. There's a lot of utility and there's a lot of value to live streaming for people who can't get to the parks frequently. I get that. But here's the other thing that you and I joked about, is that like every mom with a blog now fashions themselves a professional live streamer. And when they're in the park, whether it be 2 weeks or 2 days, they're taking that time, and instead of enjoying their vacation, they're taking that time to just explode their Instagram count or their TikTok count. And so it's not like we're talking about 1 or 2 or 5 people. At any one point in Disney World now, Disney World has gotten somewhat out of control. We're talking about hundreds of people live streaming simultaneously. You cannot go into the Magic Kingdom or to any of these parks without running into at least 10 to 20 live streamers in the course of your travels as you walk through the parks. And I think what you're going to get, Greg, is, again, the sins of a few will ruin for the many. And I think that maybe let's assume, because we don't know, maybe this is not Disney and maybe it is Tokyo Sea that's making this change. But I guarantee you that Disney is looking at this and the effect that it has on parks. I guarantee you they're looking at this very closely, because we saw this in the article. 8 out of every 10 comments on the post were clapping and applauding and please get rid of this. Disney, please do something. Fans are having their parks experience ruined. And I don't even want to get into the legalities of it, because I've thought about this too. You have TikTok that doesn't allow kids on camera, right? Like if you have a kid on a live stream, it gets pulled down. It
Thank you. I was just about to go there myself.
violates their terms of service. So how are you able to, on TikTok, walk through a theme park filled with children that have not given their permission to be on camera? You haven't even asked the parents their permission. Some streamers are better, but listen, unless you are literally filming the ground as you walk, you're getting all of these people on your live stream and on camera without consent. There is zero consent.
Let's talk about the legalities before I go into my little rant here.
Go ahead.
The legalities are that once you're inside of a Disney park, your likeness image can be used by Disney at any time.
By
blah,
Disney.
blah, blah.
By Disney.
Right. And all photos, everything are still property of Disney. It's something like that. I can find out. Here's going off the deep end for a second, Mark. What happens when there is a kid whose mother and stuff is trying to escape an abusive marriage? Or what happens when a wife is trying to escape that? Or a husband, for that matter, in this day and age? You're just basically blasting them on your live stream. Now, the odds of that other person seeing that and going, oh, they're at Disney, I'm going to go there, are very low. But if it ever happens once, just one time.
I don't know.
It's not worth it happening.
I do think it is somewhat of an invasion of privacy. I do agree. Like, I think you used an extreme situation. But
right. So here. Hold on. I don't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
This is what pisses me off. Excuse my language. But every live streamer that I've seen recently has come up to me and been like, hey, how you doing? And they'll talk to me for a few minutes. Obviously, being with Chip and Company, they know who I am.
Yeah.
And they will come to me like, hey, do you want to be on camera? And 9 times out of 10, no, I'm good right now. I'm here with my kids or with my wife. Why are they asking me, but not the other 1,000 people around them? What gives me the respect for them to ask me if I want to be on camera, but you're not asking everybody else who's walking around you if they want to be on camera? It's bullshit.
Well, so here's where I think the reason they're asking you is because you are being talked to and you're being pulled into the stream. I do agree with you, though, 1,000% that where I think this is going to eventually become problematic for Disney, I see 2 problem areas. Is one, the one that you just listed, where you get someone who knows who the streamer is on camera, and what they will do is they will sue said live streamer for use of their likeness and their image without their permission. And then, by proxy, Disney will get named in that very same lawsuit. That because Disney allowed that behavior to continue, and just the fact that they got named in the lawsuit, then I think Disney legal team will probably re-examine this and say, like, look, we have a liability here. It's just going to take one person to do that.
Right. And nothing will happen to Disney because they have very good lawyers, and it's not their responsibility, and they hold no, but yeah. I just think listen, again, there are some very good ones out there that do show.
Correct.
Like when I or you would do it, we would hold the camera up over kids' heads. And if you saw a kid, it was so far in the distance that you couldn't make them out on camera. It's a respect thing. I was in line. I would stay above kids' heads. Or
if I was in line, I would flip the camera to focus on my face. If I was stationary and standing in a queue, I would flip it. But as you've noticed, you and I have also had this discussion. I have stopped live streaming for a variety of reasons.
So have we.
But many of them are things that we've been talking about here, just because I've kind of had that epiphany and knowing how intrusive it is for a lot of park guests and seeing the reaction that I get when I was live streaming, it held a mirror up to my face to make me really reflect on the medium and think, I don't want to do this. The second one, before we move on, the real scenario by which I think Disney will probably start to examine this here in the United States is that second piece where in Tokyo, you cannot bring any phones or turn any phones on in a ride. You're going to have eventually a phone on a roller coaster or on a thrill ride that will cause injury or harm, not to the person that's holding the phone, but someone else that is on the ride that's going to get clipped with a guest.
Right, and it'll be a total mistake. I do want to say this on that. Listen, for any live streamer who is thinking about changing up, there's different things to start thinking about doing, whether it's pre-recorded videos and then you're at home on StreamYard. But there's other options out there besides
doing it. It's not going to happen.
So it's not going to ruin what you do. Your audience is your audience, and they're going to stick with you no matter what. So there is positives if this is ever implemented, and you're looking at years away from this being implemented, but it is a major conversation to have, and I think people need to recognize where the line is and how to draw it.
if I had to guess and play Nostradamus on this, it would be Disney has already started to dabble with live streaming. Disney is just going to have a crew of their own that's going to walk around the parks. Listen, man, we saw it at D23.
Yep.
Crews of camera people walking around the parks, live streaming in high full HD, and you have hosts that were walking around the park. Disney has started to dabble and get more involved with social media. And eventually, once it becomes advantageous to them, they're just going to do it on their own. And they're going
Mark, I do want you to know that I have applied to be the live streamer host for Disney. And it was turned down.
Did you feel blue? Did that make you feel blue?
Well, the skies were blue that day anyway.
Well, Chip, I know Chip would definitely agree with what happened in Tokyo Sea. So let's ask him, Chip, do you agree with what's happening over in Tokyo? Are you on board with what the Tokyo Sea company has done with banning vloggers and live streams? Hey, man, where's Chip?
Well, Mark, unfortunately, I have some bad news again. Again, after our awesome time of picking Chip up at the airport baggage claim in Long Beach, California, unfortunately, my friend, we have lost him again.
We have a horrible track record with losing Chip in the luggage.
When last we saw Chip, he was entering the showroom floor of D23 a few minutes early.
That's never good. Yeah, don't do that.
A very passive-aggressive security guard asked to see his credentials and how he got into the showroom early. After telling the passive-aggressive security guard, apparently he was escorted out somewhere. Well, unfortunately, we have not seen him since. Slightly good news, my friend, though. I did receive a call from the Orange County Sheriff's Department, so maybe that was him. Mark, is it time for a rescue mission? Are we going to have to collect money for bail?
So he got booked?
I don't know. We haven't heard from him.
Do you think he gets a prison tattoo?
I hope so.
I bet you he's making hooch right now.
It would be the second tattoo because the three of us all got tattooed together.
Do you think he's making hooch right now? Or a shiv?
He has figured out, dude, he would figure out how to survive in prison better than either one of us.
I guarantee. Chip, we're coming to get you, buddy. We're coming to get you. That's it for Where in the World is Mr. Chip Confer for the week. Join Chip on his adventures as we lose him every single week. He's gone from being lost in the luggage, locked up by Dementors. He's had a really rough month. He got locked up by Dementors, lost in the luggage twice, and now thrown into the clink over in Orange County and Anaheim. Chip, I'm so sorry, my friend. All right, brother, I am ready for Rushmore. Our segment of Rushmore is where we bring you the top 4 of something random every single week. This week, Greg is tasked with the Rushmore of the week, and I believe that you're bringing us the top things we did or saw at the D23 Expo.
That is right, my friend. What an amazing weekend the three of us had out there. That it would be you, myself, and Mr. Chip Confer, who
me, myself, and Irene.
I don't know what I was going to say there, man.
I don't know.
Listen, we had an amazing time out there. I just wanted to go over some of the top things that we saw at panels, on the showroom floor, or just in general, because it really was one of the best weeks we ever had. So let's get on to it. Let's get to this week's Rushmore. I need to let you introduce that because every time I do, there's a delay. I'm like,
But you saved it. You got, I like it. You built into it. The cadence was perfect. I was like signaling you with my hands. It's like audio clip.
Oh, no, I knew it was there. See, the problem is I can't have the screen up at the same time I have the document up. in case people don't know, I'm reading off a script on some of it.
All right, man. Hit us with your top 4. All right.
All right. So I'm going to put this as number 1, but it's actually number 4. Honestly, any of these can go anywhere. It is a Rushmore. They are all equal. I will mention this first. The whole experience, Mark, everything we did as a team for Chip and Company, we laughed a lot. We enjoyed working together. It was very odd to have 3 people together in the coldest hotel room of all time. You in your Marc igloo, me in my pillow fort, Chip complaining it was still way too hot all weekend long. I do want to say the time we spent will always go down the books as one of my favorite and most fun weekends of my life. So I just want to say the hotel is on that list of there. So
and as an asterisk, as cold as anyone says it was in that room, you cannot comprehend how incredibly freezing it was. I slept right next to the air conditioning unit, woke up in the middle of the night with half of my face numb, and they joked and called it the igloo because if I didn't cover myself with the comforter,
it was a big white comforter.
It was a big white comforter, and they were like, "Where's Mark?" I was under the covers, not like an inch of skin sticking out, because I lived in a wind tunnel for 4 days.
And the guy who wanted it coldest was furthest away from the air conditioner.
True
I don't
stories.
know how this happened. So number 3 or number 2, however we're doing these numbers,
whatever.
The World of Dreams, a Boundless Future Disney Parks display. They had the 3D models of Tiana's Bayou, Mickey's Toontown, Te Fiti from Moana's Journey of Water. Seriously, after seeing all of those displays, I am now more excited for all of these attractions to open up soon. I also want to mention in that World of Dreams booth, they also had the exosuit, which we saw the Hulk come out in the Disney Parks panel in. Not including all the ride vehicles for all the new rides that are going to be opening up across the world at different Disney parks. So World of Dreams booth goes on there. Number whatever, I'm done with the numbers.
Another one.
It's the Marvel Showcase booth and costumes, Mark. The GOAT, especially from Thor, Love and Thunder, was on display, but it was only the head. Tooth Gnasher is the white goat where the tongue sticks out the side. So the display looked like Marvel had just killed a goat and put its head on a pike.
It did.
It was the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in my... You just needed fake blood dripping down off of it. And it was brilliant. I don't know who or what people were thinking.
And the fact that its tongue was sticking out made it look like it got killed.
So much worse. So thank you, Disney D23, for having that display. It will go down as my favorite display of all time. There is nothing better. A Marvel Showcase booth. I have pictures. I will send them out to people.
Yeah, look on our socials for that one. You'll enjoy it.
And the best, the George Washington of our Rushmore, Mark, is Rogers the Musical. This is the very first time this musical number was ever done live on stage, and we were in the room where it happened. Rogers the Musical is a Broadway musical based on Steve Rogers, the first Captain America, with music by Marc Shaiman. Originally, it was shown during Hawkeye on Disney Plus. Rogers the Musical was done live for us, Mark. It was truly amazing. And that, my friend, are the top things we did or saw at D23 Expo this past weekend.
I could do this all day.
Mark,
I'm feeling spicy.
As always, there's something getting hot in this room, and this one is you getting hot in her. So please, give us this week's Spicy Hot Take by Marc Valentine.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hit you with a spicy hot take, and in a word, my hot take coming out of D23 is optimism. Sadly, Greg, optimism has become a hot take here online and in the Disney community and in Disney socials. So many people, Greg, took to TikTok, to Twitter, to social media to immediately assert their lack of credentials and use their platform to complain about the wide-eyed optimism that Josh D'Amaro displayed in the Parks panel on Sunday. Despite the fan service of Happily Ever After, new meet and greets, Big Hero 6 in San Francisco taking over Pacific Wharf, a formal announcement of new Marvel e-ticket attractions over at Avengers Campus, several concept drawings, new character meet and greets, you name it. Disney earmarked sections of the park, entire sections for future projects. We still, Greg, had people that used that moment to promote themselves and their own brand, in air quotes, instead of Disney. And you know what, Greg? I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it. You know what? I'm sorry that your pet project that you were looking for in the panel wasn't announced. I'm sorry that the Imagineering session that you hold regularly in your live streams or on your podcast didn't get talked about or touched, and that your predictions for D23 were wholly untrue, and that you had a little egg on your face. But that does not give you the right to put a damper for those of us who spent that week excited and joyful about what Disney has in store for its next 100 years. So many people don't even realize it when they're gatekeeping anymore, Greg. And these communities are starting to gatekeep what people can get excited about and what Disney should do just because they have the social platform to do it. There's an old adage, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't say anything nice, Greg, in the spirit of that, I'm going to stop my rant before it gets too long-winded, and I'm going to live up to that statement and remind those people that are the consummate storm clouds in our community that Josh D'Amaro promised us blue skies ahead. And you know what? I'm taking him and their Disney brass at their word, as I, for one, am joyful and looking forward to a future filled with incredible projects and promise of magic that is yet to come. So I'm going to turn the camera away from me and on those blue skies in Disney and remember why I do this. And I'm going to continue to be excited about what we got from D23. And to all of the haters out there that are using their platform and their microphone to spew negativity, you do you, boo. I'm going to change the channel.
Nobody hates Disney as much as a Disney fan. I don't understand. Look, I'm not debating you. There is no debate.
Crazy
that is
to me.
your hot take.
Crazy to me.
I will say, if people... This is what confuses me. These guys who run this company and who put on these presentations really truly love Disney. I don't understand the fact of these people come out and go, no, they hate us. They hate our fans. They hate Disney. We just saw so much optimism. And I think you said it best. It was Disney basically was giving fan service. And please, you explain it better than I can, because I love what you said about this.
Listen, we did a Patreon panel that I said on Patreon. Disney essentially came out and said to the fans with this parks panel, we hear you, we see you, and we know what you guys have been asking for. And here it is. Here's happily ever after. You've been talking about villains for how long? Yeah, we don't have dates, but you know what? We see that villains will be a part of a future project. We know how much you guys love Coco. Guess what? Coco is being considered for a future project. You love Encanto and a walkthrough of the House of the Madrigals. Guess what? We see you. You fans complain about on TikTok and in podcasts about Dino Land USA. That's the area of the park that we know that you guys want to be improved upon. And guess what? We don't know what it is, but we're talking Moana. We're talking Zootopia. We know that these are the areas of the park that we have to improve because you told us that you want them improved. And still, then what do? We take to it and it's like, we got nothing. It was a nothing burger. Look, no one hates on Disney more like Disney people. Give it time. We have a conference. You have Destination D23 next fall. They are setting the table for future projects and they are building the pipeline beyond the grid and beyond Tron and beyond Splash Mountain. They need time to conceptualize and feel grateful that we are involved in that early stage of discussion. That's what you got. You got included in the concepts of what Disney is bringing. Can I say what
made me really happy, though, about all this and how I became a little bit more optimistic? They were talking about Beyond Thunder Mountain. Yes. And so I looked on a satellite map of Beyond Thunder Mountain. Yeah. We all did, three of us together looked, and we realized there's space back there.
There's space.
Really what this told me was there will be a new land at Magic Kingdom.
It's got earmarked.
No matter what it is, there is going to be a new land. People, whether it happens in 2 years or 5 years, we are getting a new land in the Magic Kingdom. We don't need a fifth park. It's not going to happen. That's okay. But a new land in Magic Kingdom, that is huge news. And I'm so happy that I am here for it. It's going to... It's making me happy for two reasons. One, as a huge fan of Disney, I'm really excited for that. Two, as an employee of Chip and Company, I have work for the next 5 years talking about the new land at Magic Kingdom, Mark. I have work to do. Let's go. Let's get to work, my friend.
Go and let's get to work. Yeah, man, don't gatekeep people's optimism. And don't gatekeep. And don't make it feel like for those of us who are out here excited in the community that we're somehow shills or we're somehow like there's something inherently wrong with you. That Parks panel excited me. And look, I if it didn't excite you, that's fine. But you also don't have to come online and go on TikTok and tell those of us in the community that are excited about it that there's something inherently wrong with us, because there's not. That we're optimistic and we're hopeful. That's it, man. That's it.
Well, that'll do it, Mark, for another episode of And Company. Check out all the episodes from Chip and Company Podcast Network this past week for a recap of all things D23 Expo. Listen, we appreciate every one of you listening out there. And as always, for Mark Valentine of Disney Life Podcast, end of line.
End of line, Craig. Hey guys, Diz Life Marc here, and I want to tell you all about the official travel partner here at Chip & Company. Let our good friend Sarah at Destination to Travel help you plan your next Disney vacation. Sarah specializes in planning dream vacations for your family. She's an authorized Disney vacation planner, and she can help with every step of your magical vacation. The best thing is that her services are 100% free. Want to travel beyond Disney? Sarah has you covered there too. Want to find out more? Fill out a trip request form over at the website at Chip & Co. or email her directly at sarahsolberg@d2travel.com. What are you waiting for? Start planning that dream vacation today. Email her at sarahsolberg@d2travel.com.